President Mohamud, thank you for talking with us.
Thank you, Judy.
So as you prepare to leave Washington, have you found this week's meetings to be helpful, useful to you?
It was very useful. The meeting was meant for the African continent, of course, and we learned a lot, and there was new injections from the United States government to push the economy and the life of the people of Africa. We are very much grateful for the level of support that has been shown to us, and we already have moved and progressed in our cooperation between the United States government and Somalia.
How much aid would you say the United States is giving to Somalia, and how would you describe the relationship between the two countries?
It's only last year when the transition was ended in Somalia and the United States government recognized Somali government as a legitimate state to deal with, and then only started our cooperation. We signed a number of cooperation agreements, and still we are at the beginning, but we're moving in a very good pace and direction.
Let me ask you about something that I know is of great concern to you. I assume you talked to the United States government about it, and that is the militant Islamist group, Al-Shabaab. They have wreaked death and destruction in your country for a long time. They've just last week they murdered a legislator in Mogadishu. They've tried to assassinate you. You've said that you believe your government will defeat them, but how long will that take? How difficult a task are we talking about?
Within the next few months, there might not be a territory controlled by Al-Shabaab in Somalia, but that's not the end of war. They melt down into the society, and these suicide bomb target assassinations will continue some time, but we strongly believe that it will end up soon.
Do they try to infiltrate your inner circle?
They do try everywhere. They do try to infiltrate into security institutions. They do try to infiltrate into the politics. If not the politicians, the staff that works with the politicians.
Do you fear for your own safety?
I was elected on September 10, 2012. September 14, I was attacked long before I went into the State House. So since then, they continue trying, but the security forces have aborted all this, and I have a very good confidence on my security staff. They give me enough possibility to move around in Mogadishu and throughout Somalia, so I'm not worried much.
You brought up piracy. This is another terrible scourge. For a while, it was around the Horn of Africa. Ships going around were frequently attacked by pirates coming from Somalia. It does seem to have slowed down. Do you have that behind you now?
Partly this is addressed. International partners have made a strong military presence in the seas, and they push it back, the pirates, and the Somali community leaders and elders also take a campaign of awareness raising among the young people. So they come back. But the issue is the root causes is not yet fully addressed. So we are still, the challenge is still existing, and it's the government of Somalia is struggling with addressing those issues.
There have been serious concerns raised by the U.S. government and others over whether your government has achieved, since you came into office, sufficient stability, transparency, whether corruption has been dealt with, whether you're on track to have a government of national unity, that you don't just represent a part of the country. What do you say to those who ask?
Imagine a country that has been without a functioning state over 2 decades. And we are in the office now for 2 years. The problem that was existing more than 2 decades cannot be solved overnight, but we put in place all the necessary foundations to have a very democratic and state institutions that serve the interests of all Somalis. For the first time in 45 years, Somalia is going to experience elections in 2016. That's the plan of this government, to make elections happen in 2016. And you know what? When was the last time Somalia went into the polls? That was 1969, 45 years ago.
The news media. I understand from reading that there is at least one leading independent news media group in Somalia which had been honored internationally. The name of it was Shabelle Media, that was ordered to shut down, close down its offices. How do you answer this? And does your country have a free media? How free is the media in Somalia?
There are a number of times when Shabab infiltration has been suspected in different organizations, not only the media, government offices, agencies, ministries. And these security people, they go after that. If there is a suspect in a media house, it's not immune from that type of thing. What we know is that 90% of the Shabab operations and Shabab operations are on the media, not in the field.
90%?
They have been given some of our media, I will not say all of them, some of our media, they might not be, the capability and the capacity is very limited to understand between the neutrality and what to be and what not to be.
Last question, what do you want Americans to know about Somalia that they may not know?
What we want to know, the Americans, is that Somalia is not the Somalia of 1970s and 1980s. Today, and even 1990s, Somalia is different now. We have, on the road to democratic institutions to be put in place, we say the United States come to Somalia, help us to invest in the future so that no more Shabab, no more terrorists, no more piracy in Somalia.
President Mohamud, we thank you very much for talking with us.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you very much.